So Jeudy has been in the news this past week upon his return to Denver in a huge Monday Night Football game for the Broncos. And he was recently asked about how he'll feel about returning to Denver, and he had this to say, quote, "My feelings, I just want to go back up there and whip their ass," end quote. This dude has been a hothead since entering the NFL, and he was really out of control and inconsistent in Denver. I remember, I believe, a year ago, 2 years ago, they were playing on Thursday Night Football in Arrowhead, and he was getting into a mini altercation with Steve Smith on the sideline. So this dude has always been kind of emotionally immature, to say the least. And his time with Denver was, like I said, inconsistent. Sure, he made some plays, and the dude is an elite route runner, but a ton of drop balls, and just wasn't really that 1A guy that they hoped for. Of course, they drafted him in the first round, and, it just didn't really turn out how they wanted it. I was really happy when they traded him away. It was long overdue. Just needed a fresh start, and that's the thing. I don't mind wide receivers being divas or hotheads, but you got to perform on a week-to-week basis, man. And he just did not do that in his time with Denver. But since joining the Browns and since Jameis has taken over, he's looked pretty good. So fair play to him, fair play to the Browns, and I feel like the trade worked out for both parties. I don't know why he's so in his feelings, but, I guess that's what happens when you deal with emotionally immature people, They usually are pretty butthurt most of the time. He was also asked how he felt about his time with the Broncos, and he had this to say, quote, I wasn't satisfied with how the Broncos were using me. I felt I had to go somewhere else to really showcase what I'm about. So far with the Browns, he has 45 catches for a team-high 645 yards and 2 touchdowns this year. And he's actually on pace for a career-high year in receiving yards, which is 997 yards. Never broke 1,000 yards for the Broncos, so again, pretty disappointing time with Denver. I appreciate the promotion for this game from Jeudy's end because I'm already really hyped for this game. Huge game for Denver and huge primetime game. The Browns have also been pretty entertaining the past few weeks. Everyone loves Jameis Winston. He's all pretty funny with his quotes and everything. I don't know. I find it kind of weird. It's just funny how fast humans kind of forget about certain off-the-field activities. I appreciate Jameis as a football player and kind of as that entertaining dude, but man, oh man, he's had a lot of controversial stuff off the field, man. Does not take a lot of effort to really do a quick Google search on what that guy did with his time in Florida State. A lot of off-the-field stuff, man. Him and Deshaun Watson definitely have a few things in common. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of awkward from my perspective how quickly people forget. This dude is not a good dude. But, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But anyways, I'm curious to see if Jerry will show up. And I'm assuming Pat Surtain will be all over him. And, who knows? Maybe we might see some fights. I'd be into that, some emotion, some hard hits. Really hyped for this game. Let me know who you think is going to win this game. It's in Denver. Browns, Broncos. Must-win game for Denver if they want to continue to keep their playoff hopes alive. Right now, the Browns are just playing for pride, and their pride is pretty big right now, especially with a huge win against the Steelers this past week, which was a all-time great Thursday Night Football game. Maybe we'll get some snow for this game as well. That would be extra fun. But you let me know who you think is going to win this game. So yeah, man, Denver definitely needs this game to keep up their playoff hopes. After that, they have a bye week. Then they're at home against the Colts. I feel like that should be a pretty easy dub. Then they're on a short week at LA. Thursday Night Football against the Chargers. And funny enough about that game, it's actually the first time in NFL history that a Thursday Night Football game has been flexed. Apparently, the NFL had to ask the Broncos if they were cool with that. And, that's a good thing that the NFL is doing. I'm glad that they're at least asking teams for permission to be flexed into a short week like Thursday Night Football. Because I was surprised that, one, the NFL could do that, and two, that the Broncos accepted that. Maybe that'll be a trend going forward, and we'll see more of this. But again, first time in NFL history it's ever happened, and that's a pretty good game, man. Division rival game. Both teams are currently in a playoff spot, so both teams need that game. So should be very fascinating. And from the Broncos' perspective, I think they accepted that game on a short week because if you play on a Thursday Night Football game, yeah, sure, you're banged up. Yeah, sure, you're not going to be healthy. And yeah, sure, if you're on the road, you're definitely at a huge disadvantage. But once that game concludes, you're kind of on a mini bye week. You have 2-3 extra days to prepare for the following week. And that's the thing. After the Chargers game, they have the Bengals on the road. Now, the Bengals were originally kind of teetering for that 7th seed, but right now they're 2 games back from the Broncos, and they could get hot. They could beat Pittsburgh, and they could win the following week as well. But if the Broncos really win that game and take care of business, then that would pretty much solidify them as the 7th seed in the AFC. So maybe that's Sean Payton's kind of philosophy of taking that short game against the Chargers. I don't know. You let me know in the comments if you think that's why or if you think it's a different reason. And then after the Bengals game, they finish off the year at home versus Kansas City. I think that's a very winnable game as well. If hypothetically they really go on a kind of a mini losing streak from here on out, I feel like the Chiefs are probably going to rest their starters. And not only that, man, but the Chiefs haven't looked great. And I feel like Mahomes kind of senses it. He didn't really look happy after that Raiders win. I mean, how could you? You really should have lost that game as well. I feel like he could kind of sense that this team isn't a championship caliber team. At the very least, you have to kind of accept that it's definitely not playing like one right now. And I know the Chiefs always turn it on in January, and Travis Kelce is a monster, and Mahomes has been pretty much unstoppable except when he comes up against Brady and that one time against Joe Burrow. So we'll see if they could turn it up again, but right now the Chiefs definitely aren't a championship caliber team. So I really think Denver will return to the playoffs. It's been a long 8 years. I'm a Broncos fan, and it's been a long 8 years, man. One of the longest playoff droughts in the NFL. I believe the Jets are the only team with a longer playoff drought. So yeah, not good company when you're with the Jets, but very soon, hopefully, they'll leave them in the dust where they belong. And yeah, if they do make the playoffs, as of right now, it would be a road game at Buffalo and be a tough game, but I think it'd be a very entertaining one. So you let me know in the comments if you are hyped for this Monday Night Football game. Do you agree with Jerry Jeudy? Do you like Jerry Jeudy? Let me know in the comments and everything else in between. If you made this far, please subscribe and help out your boy a ton. That's all I got for right now. Peace.
Time is running out here in the fourth quarter. The Broncos come out in a dime package. The Chargers take it from the 23. He's brought down. That's going to bring up 4th down.
The Broncos defense is so fast and so powerful. That time of the run play, they just overpower the offensive line, and they tackle the runner for a loss.
And he converts here on the field goal try. The outcome of this game is probably now all but decided as that field goal makes it virtually official.
Yeah, I think it does make it official. They're going to win this football game, and you sit around now and you can just think about all the things you're going to tell the press and how great you are and what you did out there today to help your team win.
The Chargers have victory within their reach now, and they've only turned up the heat as we've gotten into the fourth quarter, Phil.
And you know, listen, they're doing this against a very good offense, so that makes it even more impressive to play this well against a good offense.